Hi everyone, so for today I spent some time reading a chapter of this book, Anam Cara, Spiritual Wisdom from the Celtic World by John O'Donoghue. So I have read the book before, but I just felt like picking it up and reading a chapter from it. And the chapter I did was on vision and how vision affects how we see things and the soul especially. So Celtic spirituality it's imbued into how we view life, into how we do things. And if you watch the movie of St. Patrick, there's images in there about how they believe when you reach a certain plateau or a certain spiritual aspect, you can shapeshift. So you can actually, they showed the St. Patrick turning into a deer when he was being hunted. So there are aspects of spirituality that we don't understand, that we don't comprehend, just like with the transubstantiation. For many, many years, people said it doesn't exist. That's just a ritual. It just symbolizes the body and blood of Christ, but it isn't. But then they found Holy Communion that had actually changed from World War II, and they are finding more and more evidence that everything that the Bible teaches is true. So this chapter basically looked at how is it that our vision shapes us. Even in the morning when we wake up and we open our eyes, it's a great gift to be able to see, to be able to hear, to be able to touch. Our skin is porous, so the world comes into our bodies through our skin. Our skin is not something that you can put something on it and it doesn't absorb it. It absorbs it, so the world comes into us through our skin, through our senses. And the soul surrounds us. When we breathe in that soul that's surrounding us, it cleanses us, and then we breathe out all what is within us that has contaminated us. There's a scene like that in the Green Mile where you see this man that is falsely accused of murder, and he breathes in and then he breathes out. It looks like pieces of charcoal. That comes from this Celtic spirituality that they've incorporated into the movie. So it's a very nice chapter to take to reflect on, to see how the eye embodies how we see, whether we have a gentle eye. If we have a gentle eye, that way of seeing touches everything and everyone we meet. If we have an eye that is jealous, that also comes into our conversations. If we have an eye that views the earth as our home, that touches how we see this world. And he's just talking in here about how when the first sound we hear is in our mother's womb, it's like the sound of the drum. That's when we are one, we are completely one with our mothers. But when we are born into the world, that separation occurs. And then that separation gets bigger and bigger because you leave home, you get married, or you move out of home, and there's a separateness that comes in between you and the other person, whether it's a friend, a family member. And he gives examples of even lace. If there were no holes in the cloth, you wouldn't have the beauty of lace. If there were no silences between the notes, you wouldn't have the beauty of music. So we need space in our relationships, in our music, in our vision. That's what brings the beauty. And one of the things that stayed with me is how, especially when I started getting tenuitis because of my work in the call center, how losing hearing, it's one of the most painful and isolating things that can happen to you. They say that even losing sight, which I've already lost sight, I can't see without my glasses, but even losing sight is not as painful as losing hearing, because it is so isolating to lose that hearing. So it's just, I'm just giving these examples because you can access these books at the library, you can access them, we have even online now that you can access, and you can use them to reflect on your spirituality, what moves you, how you see life, how your vision influences your life, and how that vision is carried out in our spirituality as well. And even with the courses, with the online courses, I'm very grateful to Regis College that they offer courses online, because I can go back and I can access those links with Gordon Rickson or Father Michael Kalachik or whoever, and I can go back and watch them again. But I miss that presence where I can go into the university, where I can see people, where I can touch them. I saw Father Gordon at the service we had, I can't even remember now, I think it's over 2 months ago. And it was the first time I had seen him after COVID had hit. So just to be able to see people, to be in their presence, to be able to give them a hug. It was for the service we had for Pope Francis. And it was very meaningful for me. When you don't see people after a long time, it's nice to look into their eyes, to touch them, to be in their presence. And that presence is something that we miss. And he also gives an example in here about holding somebody in a loving gaze is very different from staring at them or staring them down. And that's also a form of communication with our touch, with our hearing, with our sensing. It's all ways of communicating and bringing our spirituality into our lives. And he gives the example here of the children of Le who were turned into swans, and because of the jealousy of the king when his daughter got married. When you come into form as a plant or as an animal, you have no sense of difference. You have no sense of who Christ is or what deity is or what you're worshipping. You do see that sense in animals where they'll go and they'll sit in front of a statue of Jesus, or it appears like they're bowing in front of a statue of Mary, like the birds. But they're very different to us, and their dignity, wisdom, and beauty is not diminished in any way compared to us with our human arrogance. So the Celtic spirituality it's very beautiful. I like it because in the African it's still Christianity, but in the African landscape, we also used to do things like that. Like we would have a mass at home, or we would have a mass outside, like the priest used to join us at our picnics, and we would celebrate mass together near the river. The beauty of waking up to the dawn, the beauty of seeing the sunrise, all of those things can be incorporated into our spirituality. So it's a beautifully written book, and I enjoy picking up my books after a long time and just reading them, going through them and taking some time out for silence. I put the TV off, I put everything off, and I just sit and I read. So it's a nice book, and I wanted to just read this poem that's written. It's called The Grief of Love. Before this line of shore was touched by tide, or ever let the force of moon inside, or this risen land abandoned in the air, with its cargo of grief undreamed and bare. Before sun trembled on the skin of clay, or coaxed trees from dark up to the day, or twilight ever closed the blue of sky, to open night to color's quiet cry. Before the first bird soared over this moor, or sensed insects stir on amber ground, or silence so longed for the echo of sound, that it lured from the sea the strangers here. Before hands unraveled rocks from the hill, or set stone upon stone to stall the wind, or smoke raised the black breath of earth to air, the secrets of bog held for fire to tell. In the cry of a well that slips from the dark, the earth began to dream you, how it would polish from precious stones dust for a face, from tears of sycamores tone for your eyes. Between us the lost years insist on dreams that stir like crows among invisible ruins, disturbed by relics of laughter left in rooms, long after weather broke in where we had been. So I thought that was a beautiful poem, and it's so true of even things when we lose people, when people die, when people leave. We miss their presence. We miss their looking into their eyes. We miss having somebody in our home. We miss being able to hear their voice. Yes, you can go back and look at a video. You can look at images on the screen. You can look at things, but we miss that presence. Even the scent on their clothes, or the wisp of their hair, the sound of their voice. And that's what I missed when I went back to Regis. It was so nice to see Father Gordon again and to give him a hug, to see Michael as well. And I missed them. I missed being in their presence, the same way that I miss being in the presence of others who I have not seen for years. You miss that presence, and it's that earthly presence. You know that, okay, they're gone and they're with God and they're in eternity, and you can celebrate their life. But I really, really was moved, and it helped me to grieve watching that service that they had from the Vatican online, because it was so full of depth and meaning, and it gave me time to grieve, and to really grieve, and to know that my Pope is gone. And yes, I can go back, I can look at the videos, I can watch everything, but that physical presence is gone. So I'll just leave you with that. If you want to get the book, you can get it. I know Knox Shrine sells his works. When I buy from the church, I don't just buy from the church for the sake of it. I buy because that also supports them in their ministry, whatever little margin they make on it. And when they send me my things, after I've paid for them, they bless it and then they send it. So I have that little bit of sacredness in my home, whether it's from Knox Shrine or the Marians or my church or the oratory, wherever it is. I try to support them in that way. And I'm hoping my job situation will change, because I do want to upgrade my theology skills, and I might not be able to see the priests in person, but in a way that benefits me, because if I get a job, I can tap into those online learnings. In an ideal world, I would rather do it in Gordon's presence or in Father Michael Kalachik's presence. I would rather do it face to face, but I don't have that option, and when you're not working, it's very, very hard. So I'm continuing to pray for that job. I'm continuing to pray that I'll be able to take trips to see people that I want to see, to go and see Father Damien Howard in England. And you do have that yearning. Maybe my family don't yearn to see me. Maybe they don't care whether they see me or not. But I looked for them. I yearned to see them. I made the arrangements. And when you love, you have that yearning that you want to see somebody. You want to be in their presence. Whether it's your friends, your family, your loved ones, or even the priests that I know, you have that yearning. And I won't give up. Hopefully, before I die or before Damien Howard dies, I'll have that opportunity to see him again. And Father Michael Kalaczyk as well. People don't feel for me, but I feel for me. Put this camera off. So this is the book, if you want to get it. That's the book.